These days, when we look at cocktail lists, we see all sorts of wonderful concoctions using the most exotic and, quite frankly, unusual ingredients. But really, I think every cocktail can be traced back somewhat to a classic. And we hear this a lot about making a twist on a classic. And it's a really great strategy to follow if you're creating a new cocktail menu. Taking some classics, researching good, solid recipes that stand the test of time, but putting your own modern twist on them. This could be using local ingredients, some kind of new fruit that's very much in vogue, in fashion at the moment, or just mixing around with some wonderful herbs and spices that perhaps you found in your kitchen. So let me show you exactly what I mean. I'm going to take one very popular classic cocktail, the mojito. Enjoying enormous popularity right now. The mojito is a very simple cocktail based on rum, mint, lime, and sugar. So there we have quite a good base to work with. Now what I'm going to do is take the idea of a mojito and twist it. But I'm actually going to give a few twists to it, so stick with me if you will, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. When we twist a classic, we can add something to that drink, like adding fresh berries to a mojito perhaps, or we can switch in one ingredient for another. We could actually play around with the base spirit. We could switch in gin for rum, for example, and this is where I'm going. I'm going to take this one step further as well, just for creativity's sake, and I'm actually going to switch the mint for basil. So we've got a few little twists here, so let me show you exactly what I mean. I'm going to start off with my base spirit, which in this case is Hendrick's gin. Now gin is a wonderful aromatic botanical spirit. It has many different flavor profiles, spice, citrus, floral, even cucumber in some cases. So it really is a wonderful base spirit. And what I'm going to play off in this cocktail is that herbal aromatic nature of gin. So let me start with 1.5 ounces of Hendrick's. This is my base spirit, so the rum, as it were, in a mojito. Next comes the lime, the sugar, and then the mint. But in this case, I'm going to use basil. So I'm going to pull together about 6 or 8 basil leaves, throw them straight into my shaker. Then I'm going to add the lime, about 1/2 ounce of freshly squeezed lime juice. Then the sugar, I'm going to add 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. So let's just readdress where we are. We've got base spirit, lime, sugar, and herb. Pretty much like the mojito template, but we've already switched in Hendrick's gin, and we've switched in basil instead of mint. So we've got a twist on a classic. But I'm not going to stop there. What I'm now going to do is add in a flavor. I'm going to add in some passion fruit juice. 1.5 ounces of passion fruit juice. And I'll show you what a passion fruit looks like in just a second. And since I'm looking to accentuate the herbal nature of gin, and through my use of basil, one final little trick just to really enhance that delicate herbal nature of this cocktail, I'm going to add some green chartreuse. Now chartreuse is a very potent, beautiful herbal liqueur from the French Alps, but really just a tiny dash of this, about 1/4 ounce, will suffice to really embellish and show off that wonderful herbal nature of Hendrick's gin. So I have all of my ingredients ready. I'm going to shake this cocktail up. Let me get some ice in my shaker. Now I didn't need to muddle the basil. I'm a big believer in shaking hard, getting all the ingredients to mix up together, cool down your drink, and then you don't need to spend a lot of time muddling a herb. A herb is actually quite a delicate leaf, especially in the case of basil, and mint for that matter. And if we press too hard, what we actually get is the bitter flavor of the herb, not that delicate aromatic flavor. So let's just give this a good hard shake. And let's see what we've got here. So remember, this is a very creative, innovative twist on a classic. And I've taken a few steps away from the classic, I know that. But what I really wanted to show you was there really are no limits when it comes to mixology. But do keep in mind those wonderful, solid, classic recipes of the past. They stand the test of time for a reason. They taste good. Let's strain this over some fresh ice in our rocks glass, or you could use a Collins glass for this tall drink. And no great cocktail is complete without a fabulous garnish. I was always taught that a garnish should look great, smell good, and have kind of something to do with the drink itself. So I'm going to use a little sprig of fresh basil, which looks pretty, tells me what's in the drink and smells good. But my favorite part, I'm going to take one of these passion fruits, which, let me tell you, taste much better than they look from the outside. And I'm just going to spoon some of these seeds right onto the top of the drink. And what we find here is it's exotic looking, it smells fantastic, and it just gives that nice finishing touch to our twisted classic. The name of this cocktail, instead of a mojito, I call it a mosquito, because it gives you a little hint of the classic that it's come from, but it certainly is a different drink because we've changed the base spirit. Now this one in particular I've called the Maracuja Mosquito. Maracuja being a very intense type of passion fruit from Colombia in South America. So one of my personal favorites, the Maracuja Mosquito. Cheers.